Hey there, Games Apprentice, back with another video, something a little bit different this week. I've got with me Blunda and Wainers, and we're going to be doing something that I call the £10 Obscure Video Game Challenge. We're going to be heading to Doncaster, to the Doncaster Dome, to the Retro Game Fair, and seeing the most obscure video game we can pick up for £10 each. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm excited to get back on the road again. It's been way too long since I did some on-location filming, so this is going to be a lot of fun. We've been taking part in Gameblast for about 7 years now, so I thought it'd be quite fun to do a little challenge while also raising some awareness for it. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are from the US, so a quick bit of geography on our little country. Doncaster is in the north of England, or central in the United Kingdom, and is in a county called South Yorkshire. I'm travelling from West Yorkshire, so it's only about 40 miles or 65 kilometres away. Doncaster is home to the creation of Paddington Bear. That's literally it. That's all the interesting facts I could find about Doncaster. It's been about 15 years since I was last at the Doncaster Dome, which was to see a wrestling show. I've heard about this particular retro game fair previously, and I've wanted to go for a few years to check it out, so I'm excited to see how big it is and what they've got on offer. Oh man, no way. So we arrive at the event and the queue is massive. I wasn't expecting it to be this big, but the people running it were really efficient and we were inside within about 10 minutes. Unfortunately, they were sold out of the early passes. Blunda and I already got ours weeks ago, but it meant that Wainers was going to have to sit around and wait in the cafe for an hour, giving us a big advantage in this competition. Admittedly, once I was inside, I was a bit disappointed by the size of it. I'd seen pictures of it in previous years, and it was definitely a lot smaller than in those. So, to reiterate the challenge, it's to pick up the most obscure game for under £10. This sounds easy, but we don't want to just throw games in the bin once we've got them. We want something that we can keep. So either it's going to be something we want to play, or looks good on our shelf, or maybe we think it'll be worth something one day. So I'm having a look around and honestly I'm not really sure where to even start with this one. The tricky thing about an obscure game is that if I've heard of it, then it's probably not obscure. So it's not like I can look for something specific. I was originally thinking of going for something a little older, like anything tape based, but then I've got such little knowledge of that era that I could easily end up picking the most popular game on that system. For anything from the 90s, £10 isn't that much, but PlayStation 1 games generally tend to be pretty cheap, and there's a lot of them, so there's bound to be something on there. So I think that's going to be my focus for now. Blunder's main knowledge seems to be around the NES and the Super Nintendo, but getting any of those for under £10 is slim pickings. So he's forced to look outside his comfort zone a bit and decides to focus on the PlayStation 2. Again, it's another system that's incredibly cheap to buy for and has a ton of games, so you could easily find something there. Meanwhile, as it hits noon, Wainers is finally able to get in, and obviously while he was sat around for an hour, he's had time to think. He wastes absolutely no time and goes straight for the GameCube and Wii games, as they're the systems he's got the most knowledge about. Remembering how expensive GameCube games are though, he turns his attention to the Wii, and this is an excellent source for obscure games. 90% of Wii games are under £10, so he's got his pick of the litter here. It's just deciding what he's going to go for and if it's going to be obscure enough. He finds this Wicked Monsters Blast for £7. Not one I've heard of, so game on. Wainers' reveal prompts an indecisive Blunda into action and he dashes straight off under a veil of secrecy to get a game that he's seen on his travels. All he'll reveal about it is that it's on the Sega Saturn. Armed with that knowledge, I'm feeling pretty confident that his game can't be that obscure. Sega Saturn games are notoriously expensive apart from the most common ones. Ruling out PlayStation 1 games due to me not really liking them as collectibles and big box PC games due to the expense, I decided to focus my attention on my specialist subject, which is Nintendo, specifically handheld Nintendo games. The Nintendo DS has a massive library and it's incredibly cheap. I've played a ton of it too, so I should be able to spot an obscure game for that one. The problem I've got though is that everything here is either the more expensive stuff like Dragon Quest, or it's shovelware like Pony Club 2, Ponies in the Big City. So instead I opt for the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance games are a little bit more expensive and the library isn't as robust, but there's bound to be some obscure ones on there. Plus, I'll get a nice cardboard box, and everyone knows cardboard is the best kind of game box. I found this game called Tang Tang, and everything about it screamed obscure, but it was £2 over budget. So I opted for a second choice just as our time at the Dome wraps up. Well, we're back from Doncaster, we've done our challenge, and now we're going to reveal the games that we've picked. So Blunda, do you want to start?
Sure. I've got the Robo Pit, Sega Saturn.
Okay, so how much was that?
This was £8, so I had a £2 change. Never heard of this before in my life.
So Sega Saturn games generally tend to be pretty pricey if they're rare, but honestly I've never heard of Robo Pit either, so could be a good pick. Winners, what have you gone for?
I've gone for Wicked Monsters Blast on the Wii.
Cool, and how much was that one?
That was £7.
Nice, £3 change. Yeah, so I've, again, never heard of this one. I've had quite a lot of games. This one I've never heard of. I'm feeling less confident now. I went with Columns Crown on the Game Boy Advance. This is by Sega. I'm guessing it's a continuation of the Columns franchise, which I love. I've never heard of it. It comes in at £10. So now it's time to find out who won. Let's go to the score. So, to score which of these three games is the most obscure, I'm basically going to be going off number of Google hits. Lowest number of Google hits wins the competition. Simple as that. Here come the final scores. In last place with 2.9 million hits is Wainers with Wicked Monsters Blast. Wicked Monsters Blast is an on-rail shooter that came out on the Wii, as well as the PlayStation 3 and the Wii U. With 1 million hits, I take a disappointing second place with Columns Crown. It even got released a couple of times as a multicart. Sorry Mum and Dad, guess I failed again. In first place with just under 900,000 results is Blunda with Robo Pit on the Sega Saturn. Robo Pit isn't that obscure in the fact that it managed to secure a sequel for it, however that sequel didn't come to the Sega Saturn. Looking on eBay, there are only a couple of PAL copies from the UK sellers, and they're trying to sell this for over £60, so this is definitely the most obscure game. Well, there you go. Blunda here has managed to win with Robo Pit on the Sega Saturn.
Get in.
Not one that I'd heard of. Surprised he managed to win with a Sega Saturn game for under £10. But that's what you can do if you search around and put your mind to it. You get this shitty, obscure game. Any winning words there?
No, but I'm going to fire this up probably on an emulator. But I'm going to see how terrible this is, because it looks terrible.
It does look terrible. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.